1, 2, 3.
Welcome to episode 1 of That's Soundacious, a guided tour through the world of independent folk music. I'm John Voorhees, and this week I'll be trying to explain myself. What am I trying to do here? Is Soundacious even a word? We'll also have tunes and talk from Texas players Ken Gaines and Andrew Delaney, so why not stick around?
Soundacious, Soundacious, it's the That's Soundacious theme song.
Episode 1. What's Soundacious? I think this might end up being my support group. My name is John Voorhees, and I am a folk musician. This is where you say, "Hi, John." I've been writing and recording folkish stuff for 21 years now. There's something about this style of music that just refuses to completely die. It seems to go through a new revival every generation or so. Guthrie and Seeger in the 30s and 40s, Dylan and Croce in the 60s and 70s, Chapman and Colvin in the 80s and 90s, and now there are names like Feist, Jose Gonzalez, and Iron and Wine grabbing the public ear. It's hard to nail down exactly what folk music even is. It's one of those not very helpful large categories like jazz, country, or rock. I've never met anybody who was a fan of every flavor of jazz. These terms almost describe philosophies more than styles. Folk is a very intimate, personal style of music, especially in comparison to rock. Rock is at home in a loud bar or a stadium. Folk prefers campfires and coffee houses. Rock is about rhythm. Folk tends to be about lyric and line. Rock, and most other styles of popular music, tend to revolve around bands. An electric guitar is one thing, but you haven't got a real rock sound without drums and bass, and you'll do even better if you add another guitar to play lead. Folk is often just one person playing an acoustic guitar and singing. It may not always be the popular music, but it can't help being a music of the people. It springs from the kind of informal social singing that used to be commonplace before the rise of the recording industry. Everyone used to sing. That was just normal. People would sing to keep up their work pace, then they'd sing to relax when the work was finished, and then sing their children to sleep. You'll still hear a lot of singing among younger kids. That's the last refuge of a lot of traditional folk music. "She'll be coming round the mountain. I've been working on the railroad." But as the kids get older, they stop singing together and start to sing along with whoever's on the iPod. When recording technology was invented and recordings started to be sold, music stopped being something for everybody. Now there were amateurs and professionals. Consider how removed music is from everyday life on that paragon of reality television, American Idol. First, you have the great nationwide talent search to find people that can really sing, as opposed to all the rest of us schmucks out here. In the early episodes of a season, special attention is always given to the worst performers. After all, they're so funny, aren't they? And they all seem convinced that they are truly great singers, too. Their friends obviously never told them how terrible they are, and now they get to be embarrassed on national TV. Serves them right. So, now the message is successfully sent. Maybe you can't sing, even if you think you can, and all your friends and family are always telling you how good you are. Maybe you're so bad at singing that you'd end up a laughingstock if you ever tried to do it in public. Best to leave it to the professionals. After all, you can always sing along with the car radio, right? Even for the few who survive the American Idol tryout gauntlet, success has more to do with showiness than skill. You have to meet the narrow standards of the music experts on the panel, and, God help you, win the hearts, minds, and cell phones of the American public, or at least that subset of the American public that religiously watches American Idol and doesn't mind running up their phone bills to feel like they have some say in some part of what happens in the world. I'm up on my soapbox, aren't I? Sorry, that'll just happen sometimes. Let me get back to the subject of folk music. Folk revivals seem to pop up every now and then to remind us that you really don't have to have a rock band or auto-tuned vocals or even electricity to create damn good music. You've probably heard the idea that punk rock came into existence to shout down the feel-good dancey dance of disco that was dominating radio in the mid-70s. I would also say that the unplugged movement of the early 90s was a reaction against the heavily artificial keyboards and big, booming, echoey flat drums that are the signature of that 80s sound. Maybe the new interest in folk music is a reaction against American Idol, or the Black Eyed Peas, or Justin Bieber. That sort of judgment is usually clearer with a bit of hindsight, and these flashes of popular interest in intimate acoustic styles do tend to come and go. But even as the fads may fade, the artists tend to stick around, playing listening rooms, house concerts, festivals, anywhere they can find willing ears. The message of folk is the opposite of the message of American Idol. It's not about the flash and style. It's about the song. Many times the song is actually about the performer, and so there is a confessional, personal side to a lot of folk music that commercial pop just can't touch. As a result, folk music is probably a terrible career for anyone who would like to make a lot of money. By its very nature, it is non-commercial. But one of the great things about life in these internet-dominated days is that musicians don't need record companies to make records anymore. If you want to get your music out into the world, there are no gatekeepers to stop you. Problem is, there's not a lot of promotion available for the independent folkie. Below the level of the Billboard chart and the stadium show, there are thousands of powerful and astounding songwriters playing their hearts out every night. And if you didn't happen to just stumble on the right room at the right time, there'd be no way for you to know about it. So that's where this show comes in. The word Soundacious is my own invention, and it's been the name of my record label for 15 years. It's a mashup between the words sound and delicious, or maybe audacious, or spacious, or courageous. I never really bothered to come up with a definition for it. But for the sake of this podcast, something is soundacious if it excites me and moves me, and I feel the need to let more people know about it. I'm adding my own little drop in the bucket of needed promotion for musicians and venues worthy of greater attention. And let me make this clear. I am nobody, and I am located precisely nowhere that would be considered important. I am a player, and I am a fan, and I have a microphone, and I want you to know about some of the cool things I'm finding out about in the seemingly endless world of independent folk music. So, where do I start? It's a big subject. I think the first thing I'd like to do is introduce you to Ken Gaines, who's been a bit of a guide for me. He's a terrific player and songwriter based in Houston, and he hosts the Thursday night shows at Anderson Fair, a historic listening room that nurtured the careers of players like Lyle Lovett and Nancy Griffith. Ken's also a regular at the Kerrville Folk Festival. I'll be talking a lot more about Kerrville in future episodes, but I caught up with Ken there this past Memorial Day weekend. Ken had actually torn his Achilles tendon and had to navigate the festival in a cast with a zippy little electric scooter this year. But he managed to gather himself across a picnic table from me for a little chat.
Getting better at backing up. That's the hard part. There we go.
All right.
And then...
Yeah.
This was on day 4 of the festival, and was actually the 3rd time I had tried to record an interview, but I was still getting the hang of working with the Zoom H2 I had brought with me. It's a great little microphone, runs on AA's, and stores 360-degree recordings on an SD card. But I definitely learned some important lessons on this trip. First of all, when the light is blinking, it's not recording, it's on standby. And second of all, bring a damn windscreen. Well, this time I know we're on, and I can see it right there.
You can
It's
see
going.
it. All right, cool.
So, I don't know, we could start with simple history. You have been doing music pretty much all your life?
Yeah. I was one of those kids. Yeah. And, I started out in high school singing in folk groups and in rock groups. And I started writing early on, too.
Mm-hmm.
You won't hear any of those songs.
I've certainly got a set that are not going to see the light of day.
I had one time I was living in Colorado in the mid '80s, and I kind of gotten away from my music at that time, and I got back to it and wrote a couple of songs and realized those songs were head and shoulders above anything I'd ever written before, and started looking through all the old notebooks and saying, this is crap, this is crap.
Hold on.
And I actually decided to have a ceremony, and I went up camping up in the one weekend and burned my first 400 or 500 songs, something like that, you know. And said, you know, this is,
Yeah.
you know, this is history that nobody needs to know about.
Well, you got to figure out how to do the good stuff somehow. I mean, that's you start with things that are. You've got to build your own, you know, the way you want to go. And
I agree, and I'm not
that's
fast.
always the case.
You know, there's some people who are brilliant and they're quick at their writing, and at the same time, I think the way I've gone about it is I don't have. I mean, maybe I do have a Ken Gaines sound. I'm not that aware of it. I know there's a jazz influence that people point out in a lot of my songs, but at the same time. My approach to songwriting is very broad-based. I'm interested in song form and learning how to write in all sorts of different song forms.
I'm going to play more of that interview for you later on, but I wanted to give you a taste of Ken's music. A few months back in February, Ken played a house concert practically on my front doorstep. Well, okay, it was about 35 miles from my Gulfport, Mississippi home to hear Ken play just outside of a little burg called McHenry. He was backed up by another fine songwriter named Butch Morgan. For the most part, they already had a set worked out, but there was one request that night.
Way out here, Ken.
I want to hear Way Out Here. Go ahead and do it. She said way out. She wants to hear Way Out
Way
Here.
out here.
Way out here?
Yeah, since
We
we're
are way out here, aren't we?
Yeah.
All right, okay, well,
Appropriate.
this is a road song. Kind of song I write when I'm on the road. Way out here on this highway, nothing else but time. Between the last stop and the next one down the line. It's a simpler way of living, simpler way to see. Leaving all my worldly cares behind. Way out here I can see it all so clearly. Way out here where the mountains meet the sky. How everyone I love and all that I hold dear come together in the distance way out here. Together in the distance way out here. Somewhere behind me is the man I used to be, lost before I knew him as a friend. Somewhere out in front I know is waiting there for me as I sweep across this circle once again. Way out here I can see it all so clearly. Way out here where the mountains meet the sky. How everyone I love and all that I hold dear come together in the distance way out here. Together in the distance way out here. Once before I die, I'd like to fly up to the moon to see this sweet old world from way out there. No borders, no boundaries, just the ocean and the land. The clarity the distance brings to bear. I lift my eyes and sing this little prayer. Way out here, I can see it all so clearly. Way out here, where the mountains meet the sky. How everyone I love and all that I hold dear come together in the distance way out here. Together in the distance way out here. Thank you, Carolyn.
I've had a little formal study. I had a year of theory in junior college, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
So understanding basic theory was important to me.
Mm-hmm.
But beyond that, I don't read. There was a time when I could read a melody line, singing in choir or something like that. But
Yeah.
that pretty much has gone by the wayside. I could pick it up. I do regret not having more formal training.
Mm-hmm.
I think that would have been.
I don't know what that would have done for you at this point. I mean,
Well, You're right. I mean, I know a lot of people who get formal training first without, and that's changing in our educational system, but they get a reading education in music,
Yeah.
and that is their how they react to playing. They'll learn to play an instrument, and they'll learn to play with their reading. And you take that away from them, and they're totally helpless.
Mm-hmm.
But I think anymore, while that's still being taught that way, there's more and more emphasis on both the aspects of learning to read that language, okay, and translating it to your instrument, but also learning theory in the process, and, okay, in the process of learning the theory, okay, here's how you go from this chord to this chord to this chord, and here are all the different possibilities that you can do melodically or counter melodically, or learning to play leads and learning to play by ear as well.
Yeah.
To hear those movements.
Late Rusty Weir used to say, whenever you hear this chord,
Somebody's gonna die.
somebody's going to die. That's right. As opposed to this chord, change one note in the chord and
Everybody lives.
everybody lives, everybody's happy. You drop that third once again, somebody's going to die. I think about the psychology of music so you don't have to. Nobody's ever been able to describe to me why music affects us this way, psychologically, but it does. Start adding a 9 and a 7 to that chord, and it gets spooky, and I start making up my own damn stories. Well, the devil made me do it, made me write this song. Sat on my left shoulder, whispered all night long. Said I'm gonna get right to it, teach you right from wrong. Me and God, we got a good thing going on. Well, the great big deal went down back before the Big Bang popped its top. When every day was darkness, every night was night, and all the angels played in minor keys, and the music never stopped, and everyone was cool and high and hot. Meanwhile, God was dreaming up a brand new master plan, got a brand new dance with a brand new band. Said I'm taking off, leaving you in charge down here, my man. We signed a deed and shook my hand. She hit a major chord on her guitar that rang just like a bell. Said, let there be light. And the whole thing went to hell. 'Cause it's all part of the dance. damn grand plan. Yes, this is your part. There's heaven in the yin and the devil in the yang. It's all part of the damn grand plan. See, I get the night moves, and I get the minor chord. Now, man, you may not know just how you cross that crooked line between the danger and the darkness and the safe and the sublime. But way back when you learned to swing and sing that minor nine, you got the devil in your music and your mind. Hit the road, Jack. Can't go back to singing in the house of the Lord. With that wild and crazy music, they won't let you through that door. If you're caught between the devil and the deep blue sea, you can save or lose your soul in any key. Yes, that's a big old fat E chord. What you gotta do is just stay true to the darkness or the light. Find a brighter day, seek a darker night. 'Cause it's all part of the damn grand plan. There's heaven in the end and the devil in the yang. It's all part of the damn grand plan. I get the night moves, and I get the minor chords. Everybody, it's all part of the damn grand plan. There's heaven in the end and the devil in the yang. It's all part of the damn grand plan. I get the night moves, I get chocolate cake, and the good booze, and the bad girls. And I get the minor chord. Thank you.
That's Ken Gaines from a February house concert in McHenry, Mississippi, backed up by the incomparable Butch Morgan. I've got a lot more great stuff to play from that show for future weeks, and as soon as I can get a few minutes to chat with Butch, I'll highlight some of his songs as well. It'll be worth the wait, I promise. If you want to hear more of Ken, you can visit his website, kengaines.com. I'll post a few YouTube links on the show site as well, as soon as I've got the darn thing up and running. I'm going to finish out this first episode with a quick return to Kerrville. I haven't told you about Camp Stupid yet, but it's a co-op campsite with a serious history and a well-stocked bar. Every night after the main stage festival shows, around midnight-ish, the whole Quiet Valley campground springs to musical life, and things don't really quiet down until the sun comes up. Camp Stupid is the outpost whose song circle is moderated by Mr. Gaines, and I've got lots of great tunes to share with you from the few nights I was able to take part this year. This is a song by Andrew Delaney with piano backup from Julie Bonk. I Keep Coming Back to the blues.
All right, are we good? We're good? We're good. I got it. 1, 2, 3.
Cigarettes and tall brunettes, loud music and blues. Whatever else I think will help to forget about you. But I keep coming back to the blues. I keep coming back. Hit the road from parts unknown, hell maybe Kalamazoo, just to get out of my head for a week or two. But I keep coming back to the blues. Oh, I keep coming back. Since you've been gone, I'm moving on in circles. I know it's down whatever route I choose. Hitch a ride on a motorbike, wear out my walking shoes. Catch a train and board a plane, oh, what's the use? I keep coming back to the blues. I keep coming back. Take it, Jim. Since you've been gone, I'm moving on in circles. I know it's down whatever route I choose. I could change my face, my name, turn into somebody new. Or who knows, I could go on home to the awful truth. I keep coming back to the blues. I keep coming back to the blues. I keep coming back.
Andrew Delaney is, of course, the leader of the Dallas band, Andrew Delaney and the Horse You Rode In On, and I'll be linking their MySpace page on the main site as soon as it's available. Julie Bonk's website is juliebonk.com, and yes, that is spelled B-O-N-K. I'll be back in 2 weeks with more musical fun. I got to spend some time with this year's finalists in Kerrville's University Songwriters Competition, so we'll be doing that. And in the meantime, please take the time to go out and listen to some local music. Those guys need your ears. That's Soundacious is a production of the Soundacious Media Group, a tiny little family-owned media conglomerate on the coast of the Gulf of Mexico. Thanks for listening.